Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon show. All I'm saying, next time, bring the evidence. All you do, you come here, corruption. Just here. Next time you come here, bring your stuff. I am not talking about that. I'm talking about you in 2024, December, saying there's corruption. Bring it.
Let me ask you this question. I would like to ask the AG to propose legislation for what we call small claims court. There are lots of poor people, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is their right. Unlike the right that someone has, all of our rights exist in context.
What's the context of a second medical opinion?
Because of disrespecting the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you seem to do, you're just dealing with African Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a future, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon show with co-host Leonard Craig. Our guest this evening is someone we have been grateful to. And I said to him when we were arranging this interview, he's a recurring decimal on the show. One of the persons who have made this show possible because he has never said no to our request, never even postponed an interview. And he's in the midst of an election campaign, and Guyana is in the midst of an election campaign. And so this time it was a bit difficult to get him. I called, he was in Barbies. I called, he was in Region 3. So I said to him this morning, this campaign cannot finish without you gracing our studio and dissecting and discussing the election campaign. So we eventually got him to concede the hour with us. And here with us is Minister of Labour, Joseph Hamilton. And what we will start with is what is expected. How is the campaign going?
Okay, so
tell us about your experience since this thing started.
So the campaign, let me see.
I like your show, Jack.
Thank you very much. What is noteworthy is that the People's Progressive Party can go into any community and keep a meeting, and they're welcome. I would say 10 years ago, it was not so. Maybe I can bring it forward 5 years ago.
5 years, yeah.
It was not so. Where people are welcoming in communities. I spoke last night in West Rumville. A couple of weeks ago, Prime Minister was in the Warlock, Blood Alley.
Yeah, I go up here.
I remember some greetings myself and Roger Luncheon and Odinga had there 2011 down the Ramatara campaign. And so that is the change and transformation that is happening. That change and transformation is terrifying the PNC. The gravest problem the PNC is faced with is that. And let me explain it this way, that people understand. You see, when people are busy taking care of their development and their children's development, they don't have time for idleness. When people have ownership, when a man got a house, he will think twice to go and vandalize somebody else's house. When he has a car, he would think twice to go lash in you're
hitting somebody in the road
because
you want his car to be hit.
he don't want his car to suffer the same fate. So welfare, and the opposition could say what they want. The reality is we are on our way whereby people's welfare is being catered for in all respect. And so that is a very new development. And I say, normally I would say that to the young comrades who are involved in the campaign. Now listen, this place that you can come to speak at your first political outing, and you can be allowed to speak, and people by the hundreds will listen to you. It was not always like that. So that is the newness of what is happening in 2020, and I'm talking 2025. I'm talking about across the spectrum. As I've just said to you, I spent nearly a week in Berbice first in the preparation for our rally at Port Morant. I went into places like where the Angers Avenue.
You came back to the ministry or town, or you stayed
up
you
there,
stayed up,
right? That's deliberately so. Kaudam, and that was Kaudam because that is what it was. Today it's Angers Avenue because it's a different place. You have seen the development of people. Then I spent a week in Region 2, and I can give you similar. I've gone into Queenstown, to Westbury, to Dartmouth, meetings and embraced and visit people home, and they invite you into their home, they shake your hands and they take your t-shirt. People who would not have wanted anywhere close to their bridge. People with red paraphernalia named PPP Civic. And then I also went to Linden, preparing for the similar thing. And Linden I know well because I have some roots there. I know Victory Valley and Wizrock. So that is a very good thing for this country. But other than the People's Progressive Party Civic, all the other political contenders, they're wrestling with this newness. They cannot bring themselves to recognizing and understanding what is happening. And so when the PPP says we have done our work, it is not just deliverables in government. It is changing minds. It is changing hearts. And all of that goes back to Barra Jagdeo when he became the General Secretary of PPP. 2 commitments he made publicly. That he is committing to ensure that everything happens for the PPP to get back into power. And he's committing to the public and to the Guyanese people that we will change the face of the People's Progressive Party. And both of those things he has accomplished. And so that is terrifying the opposition. Because the last limb the PNC, specifically in APNU, had to hold on to is racist conversation about the PPP discriminating. Because they cannot speak to a record, they cannot speak to policy, they cannot speak to what they have done. And I'm not going back into 92. I'm talking about they had their chance 2015 to 2020. They cannot point to anything substantial, nothing they have left. Not just as a government. I'm talking about individual legacy. And I challenge anyone to point to any of the PNC APNU ministers. Forget about the government of all. I'm talking about individual legacy. What did left? When this term is finished, most, if not all, of my colleagues in the cabinet. I'm not talking about the president and his vision. I'm talking about people, whether they're mature like me or young ones who now are participating in government, Freddie. They can point to something, substantial thing, how they have helped to change people's lives. So that is how I see it developing. And more people, by the time next 3 weeks, more people will come to support the People's Progressive Party, Civic. More people. Because people are paying attention to their welfare, not racist, gaff. People want a better life. When you can say, Freddie, when a person can say, I am the first person, whether Indo-Guyanese or Afro-Guyanese or Amerindian, the first person in my lineage, in all the generations who have owned a house. You understand where they are coming from? They can say, and thousands of people say, I am the first of our long generation who went to the University of Guyana, or who today got a first degree. Those are dynamite for any political party that's seeking to get back into government.
I can see with you because I myself have been thing, and what was striking to me, I went to some cluster meetings in Georgetown, and I see the enthusiasm of the non-traditional support base that PPP has attracted. And then I heard somebody on the APNU side say that PPP paying to carry people to meetings, paying to put people in the crowd, and some of those people that are getting in West Rumville and all of that.
Confusing people.
That thing.
When?
One guy who got a shop, the man say when the meeting over, he had a rush of new money, new $5,000 bill, what these people probably collected. And sometimes I wonder if these people, you understand what I'm saying? Because I see this thing with my eye, I see the movement, the metamorphosism, kind of. And I want to understand if these people are not seeing the failure of the... But the question I want to ask you though, sorry for making such a long-winded comment, but the question I want to ask you, since we're on this topic, you've heard some of the racist comments from Hines, Ogunsei, Burke, and a long list of people who vowed to get the PPP out of office, the racist PPP out of office. But the response we're getting, such as what I see in the cluster meetings with my own eyes and the enthusiasm, means it's a failure of their message. How do you explain that in our political context?
Okay, so, the Americans, they have a saying, all politics is local. It's meaning that when we're discussing big major policy, we have to also, any government, you have to also do the simple things that will impact the ordinary person. So when we talk about building that massive bridge and the bridges we will build, at the same time we have to build bridges to connect communities. We have to put in footpath. For a person who don't understand the importance of them children having not to walk around half mile to get on the other side of the canal, they would say, okay, it's just a $5 million bridge or $3 million, whatever. That's not the issue. The issue is every day it is saving children and their parents hours to walk around. When you put a road in a community where people would have said over the years, I born and grow and walking in mud to go to school. My children and now my grandchildren. And today, they can walk on a concrete road. That by extension, the concrete road project is more than a road. It is empowerment of communities. It's a deliberate program by Irfad Ali, where Ian Barra Jagdeo says this, listen, if we do asphaltic concrete road, ordinary people will never get an opportunity to compete because they don't have the capacity and the skill set. And so in every community, what we will do is concrete roads and in the deliberate way ensure that the young contractors, women contractors, people who we will give them the opportunity to function as a contractor in the first instance. We might even give them the whole road. We might split up the road in 4 phases, but that is their experience. And we would ask them to ensure that they hire people from the community. So when you see that happening, these things that some people don't take it for important things. What is the problem now? So in 2024, Craig, when we went out there, people's major problem when you engage them, the same bottom house meeting was roads. We have actually completed that task. The important issue for people right now is lights, street lights, their security. We already ordered 100,000 lights, and we have started that. For the total country, right? So it is paying attention to the people's concern, and that is why they're responding, because you have a party that is listening. You have a party that gets things done. I mean, I'm in the government, and you would see in 24 hours. I mean, after 24 hours, this is an issue. It fixes a week. It fixes. In the whole scheme of things, you don't put things off.
Hold that thought for me. But there is a subtext to what you're saying. In that, when people in the community do the roads themselves, it breeds a kind of ownership. Because I worked there, I got employment while this road was being done.
It's my road.
Yes, and they wouldn't see anybody deliberately. Right.
But the guys there, and so the guys there becoming irrelevant that you spoke about. Because as I've said, all politics is local. People's welfare are being taken care of. And, you know, I was talking to some young people last night, people who have now embraced the PPP Civic, and I was saying to them, you know, over the period, people like me, among other names, one of the famous ones they regularly call us is house slave. And I turned that back on the opposition. Okay, Freddie, you're a man who have read history. All the rebellion for emancipation, it was a house slave that led them. You follow? Most, if not all. So for me, I'm in good company because I'm helping to create this revolution that would ensure that no more African leaders, Afro-Guyanese leaders can have ownership of us as they think they have. Right. And that is why they're losing this ownership license. And the other thing that terrifies them is independence of people. When people are empowered by making their own money, they don't have to beg you for anything. So you don't have an ownership of them. You cannot, at your beck and call, mobilize them to do mischief. And that's why they struggle. Why the PNC, they struggle over the period to have these picket lines and to create mischief. And so they have now a person who is substituting for them, who has money to do that. Well, not the PNC. But the guys, they have failed. People are not listening to them. Importantly, most of the people now under 35 or so, they don't know them. So they have no relationship with them. I'm sure majority of Afro-Guyanese, if Alexander come on the television, they turn off, or they're gonna look at cartoon or something, because they have no relation. People like the three of us who sitting on this table, we know these guys, so we know what to expect from them. But people are looking to the future, and to answer the question specifically, their propaganda and their racist talk has failed. So when that is happening and people are not responding to, or people are not dissuaded by those names and those kinds of things that they do. For that matter, people are become more stronger now. You know, in years gone by, Freddie, a man used to wear his red shirt at a meeting, and then whilst he's going home, he takes it off before he jump in the car.
I know about those days.
Right?
Yeah.
But now the man is
they're
the
walking
whole
all
family
over.
is walking all over the community with a red shirt. You know?
Now that you say that, just allow me to plug this point quickly. I was at a certain work site the other day, and when I was passing, I had 2 red jerseys in my car, and one of the guys working on a road project, he said, "Man, you got this jersey right there, give me," and the next one say, "Come and give me," and they all start running for jersey, but say it's only 2 I got, and they say how we could get more, and then next thing you know, somebody else came and probably gave them, and they put it on and was working in it, and it's all over Facebook that PPP is forcing people to wear red jersey because and I saw that with my own eyes. The guy spot the shirt and ran and came for it from me. Somebody else came and gave them more, and a lot of them had it on.
Craig, look, you know, among all the nasty and terrible things PNC, APNO, and all of them they're doing to their supporters,
Including
is the continuation of deceit. So like the things you're saying, when they manufacture those things, these kind of things to explain away a real thing, you know, people are bombarding you every day for shirts, and I for t-shirt, hat, cap, whatever, full paraphernalia of PPP. But the opposition will say that we're forcing them to wear it. When all these people in a delivery, via their own volition, they come to you and they say, "I need a jersey, I need a shirt." So that deceit, the continued deceit, is the worst thing, I think, among so many other things the PNC leadership, the opposition leadership is doing to their supporters.
You've just said, thanks for saying that I've read history. Indeed, I have read history. And I don't think in my reading of history, especially contemporary and current Guyanese history, I don't think the PNC has ever been that low. And it's the national curiosity in this country of what is going to happen in 2026. I know they're going to have new leadership. I mean, it normally happens when you get devastated in election. People say, "Look, time for new leadership," and nothing is going to go. But who is there? Is there anyone that is a PNC post-2020 leader who understands changing Guyana, changing world, the new Guyana, the petro state, the demographic of 80% of the population being under 40. What is going to happen to the PNC? And I think for a 75-year-old institution that needs to be around, that needs to be in opposition, I don't think it's looking good, and it's going to be sad.
Freddie, I'm agreeing.
They have their own self to blame, but I still think it's going to be sad.
I'm agreeing with you. So I first go on the opposite side to the PPP to come back to the point you raised. When you look at the PPP has already established 4th generation leaders. Understand? People with competence, capacity, credibility, and I'm not talking about the coast. I'm talking about every region you go to. Every region. So, that is what the PPP did. And you know, Freddie, you know the history of the PPP. In the early days, it was not so. And it must mean that the PPP understood the change that was happening in this country over the period 20 years ago. And they start to prepare for this change. The demographic shift, the intellectual change, people moving from poverty to middle class to having education. You can, tell them anything. They have the capacity to discern and to understand things. So the PPP has prepared. And I repeat, already they have fourth generation leaders that you can admire. He will tell you, you see these young people, our list, 25% of the people are under 25. And when you see them go to that podium, first outing at a political meeting with thousands of people, and when you see they command that microphone without fear or nothing at all, and speak their truth, speak the Guyana they're seeing and what they want to see. So that is what has happened. Now, the PNC has not done that. And that is their dilemma. You ask the question, who and after Norton? If I'm to make a judgment, they were in Parliament the last 5 years. And I have said, and let me repeat, I have been around the Parliament since 1998. It's 27 years, Shirley. And the worst crop of MPs on either side, because I experience it in government and in opposition. I experience it as a PNC MP and a PPP MP. The worst crop of
the crop
in my
that
27 years.
Was the crop that just was in there?
Just was in there. And you know what is tragic? When you think the younger ones, because of their age, and perhaps because of some qualifications they have, they will be more sane. Believe me, Freddie, they were wilder.
I made that point to you today.
Wilder than the older guys and girls.
So
You think this?
So the future isn't looking good.
It isn't looking good, and I agree with you. You know what we have had to do the last 5 years as ministers? We had to police ourselves. Because, okay, I'm the Minister of Labour. There's nobody with sanity who has ever come to the Parliament and asked me a question or put forward a proposal. You understand? Ask me a question as to what you plan to do or not to do. No one. And if you go across all the sectors, there was nobody there. Finance, who? Foreign affairs, who? And that is the tragedy. So we had to run and continue to run our ministries, policing ourselves, because there is no opposition there to ask you a question, to say something. And so it don't look good for Sapphire. And I'm not saying that because I'm a PPP supporter. I'm saying that as a citizen of this country. I believe there is still need for a credible opposition in Guyana. But nothing is suggesting to this country, and nothing is suggesting to people in the membership and leadership of the PNC that they have a future. Some people don't understand. A lot of people who have come to support the people, they want a political future. You can't blame them for that. And they don't see a political future in the party that they used to represent. The AFC, I don't know, don't even talk about that. So right now, and what has been happening, as you know, over the period, they all have all different mismatch of people who want to be politician, but not want to be politician, who are coming and going. They don't want...
Hold me, loose me.
Yeah. They want credit and they want position and power, but they don't want to put in the hard work. And that is the difference with PPP. The hard work. Every person that come, you got put in hard work if you're talking about leadership. And so the mismatch of all these names thrown around, and so all of them are goldfish people. They don't plan to suffer. They don't plan to sacrifice to build a political movement. You have just spoken, say what you want about both Chedi Jagan and Burnham. They built a political organization. And you know, the thing is, you know, the guys, they were 25, 26 years old. The guys, they were, you know, a lot of time when people talk about the PPP, people who don't know things, big people they're talking about.
Yeah.
They were young people. When they entered the National Assembly, for instance, actually everybody was under 30 or thereabout.
Right.
So it was the young people who had a vision of a country they wanted to develop and sacrifice for. And they did that. And by the way, so the PPP has lasted 75 years, PNC 70, Freddie. Not 75. But now, whilst the PPP is becoming stronger by the days, the PNC is becoming weaker by the days. And that is what we have.
Craig?
If we could talk a second about your ministry that you're in. There are accusations that in your ministry you're slow to respond to people's needs in the workplace. So they have problems with their employers and they feel they are done badly and they run to the ministry, and your ministry systems are slow. Can you explain what that is, and why would somebody come to such a conclusion, and what kind of program you have to help people?
Okay, so the procedure is, if Craig goes to Culture News and he's going to have a conversation with a journalist about some problem he has, that's not an official report. And so a labor officer, and by the way, let me start by saying, labor officers and all technical officers in the ministries are statutory officers. Their duties are prescribed by statute, by law, what they can do and what they cannot do. So that's the first point. So how do you treat with a labor relations problem is via a formal report. Because the law allows the officer to take an employer to court.
So before hold it up quick. So a labor officer cannot initiate something of his own based on something happening in society.
Yes, we do that all over the place. But at the end of the day, Freddie, you have to have a witness or witnesses. If the man who is suggesting that they're being done badly by their employer, they are failing to report that even when you initiate and engage, then there's no case, because the labor officer can take the employer to court before a magistrate.
Yeah, well, I know cases where
that's the point.
Employers end up in
when the labor officer goes there, we have two lawyers. They cannot go to the magistrate with he said, she said, them said. They have to go with a formal report, with a document, because the lawyer is allowed to cross-examine the witness. So if you don't have one, you understand me? So I say to people, any labor relation problem you have, the place to start is the Ministry of Labor, and make a formal report. And we have offices in every region except for Region 8. In many of the regions, we have 2 offices. So we have taken the ministry to people. And so that's the first issue. The other issue is, I don't know that properly people can say that, because I can say to you, in 5 years, we have recouped now, a thing that's still counting, over $300 million for employees. via complaints from them about employers. One of the issues you have that is out there, and no matter how we speak about it, people seem not to understand. The Ministry of Labor has nothing to do with NIS. We get blamed for people and their issues with NIS. Employers not remitted. The National Insurance Scheme commands its own statute, and they have they have officers who's supposed to intervene to deal with their matter. So a lot of times when people blame us for not acting, 50% of those things got to do with national insurance matters they have that are unresolved. But at the level of the ministry, offices are in all the region. If you look at the record, and that can be made, we have made it public, our intervention across the country, training for companies and all of that, has never, let me say this, and I'm not saying this boastfully. In the history of this country, you have never had such an effective and efficient labor ministry. And I can say that. because the records speaks for itself.
For yourself.
No, the record is there. I'll give you an example to make the point. We have a department, the Board of Industrial Training. Between 2015 and 2020, average undergraduate them, they used to train 1,300 persons per year. In 5 years, we have already trained 16,000.
Well, what kind of training you do?
All technical training you talk about. Heavy duty equipment operator, electricians, masons, plumbers, carpenters, cosmetology. We have added new programs.
And do you track how they
Yes.
behave after that?
Right. Our 70%. Some of the people still doing training, but 70% of the people who were trained over the period, we have a tracer tracking system to know where they have ended up. And so across this country, over last number, 16,700 and odd persons have been trained. You put that alongside 1,300 for a year, and you would understand what is happening as regards that. As I speak to you, it has been so good that we have now international partners supporting the program. We have programs funded by the World Bank. We have programs funded by the CDB, by the IDB. And of the 16,000 odd, 60% of the people trained are females.
But your ministry been getting some serious jumpy lashes, and I don't know how you've survived. And the only reason why I think you've survived is because of you and your experience. The two jumpy lashes is in the jumpy lashes are coming from two areas: mistreatment of staff by private security, not paying the people overtime, literally exploiting the people, and the Chinese are not giving VAT receipts, or don't seem to subscribe to VAT. I know people been pelting lashes at the ministry for those two areas.
So let me say this. As regards the Chinese, a lot of work needs to be done, more work. Work is being done, but it is building a ministry, and everything had to be put in context. Between 2015 and 2020, there was no labor ministry.
Yeah,
Right.
One of the esoteric things.
So what we had to do,
that will remain a mystery.
What
in
we
a
had
country
to
founded
do,
by working class parties.
we had to re-establish, Freddie,
These people were crazy.
a labor ministry and build structures.
Crazy people.
So you're moving from a place where in 2020 you just had 10 labor offices. Today you have 26. 10 labor offices. OSH offices. You just had 9.
What's that?
Occupation Safety and Health officers. You just had 9. The strength allows for 32 now. So it is built, and many of them are trained, equipped. Now we can visit FPSOs and drill ship out there. We have officers who are trained and qualified that they can go and look after labor relations and occupation safety and health matters in oil and gas. That was not so. So the point is, it's a work in progress. The records are there to prove the substantial improvement and training that has been done, money spent on staff development and all of those things. And one of the important things is comfort for staff. When I became minister, the staff, they were in Donkey City, Freddie.
The little boy saying you're still with you.
Yes. Today, you have the first time, you have a complex where you can go to in pristine environment to deal with. The people were at the back there, Freddie. So a total transformation and change has happened as regards the ministry. Everything is not covered because you have to continue to train people and develop skills to be able to participate in the area. I'll give you one example, the education system, how we have to retool it. I had about 48 young people who were doing work study at the ministry and Ministry of Health with good CXCs and all that kind of thing. And not one of them, I'm talking about from all the schools I could think about, not one of them, Craig, knew that there was a profession as occupational safety and health officer. So you understand what is happening. They don't know that this is a profession that is available. So there's a lot to be done, but I can say to you, Freddie, if you note the labor sector is very quiet. The most collective labor agreements ever signed in a 5-year period has happened this period. The records are available. I came and met employers and union leaders who refused to speak to each other for 5 years. I met lingering matters unresolved. I can say to you now, all of those matters are resolved. They have collective labor agreements, some of them for 2 years, some for 3 years, employers and employees.
Minister Hamilton, something happened last week that is sad, tragic, and heartbreaking. And it's heartbreaking for people like us who speak for the working class, come from the working class, and put the working class agenda in government's budget. Critchell Labour College had a fire of electrical origin, burned down half the place. About a months after, another fire. You would think, they'd be more careful. But 50 years of documents of the labor movement, of school leavers going to Critchell. You mean to tell me, Minister Hamilton, to put documents on a flash drive, which right now as we speak, 14-year-old students they're in the bedroom, putting the grades on flash drive. And that has to be one of the most devastating blows to labor integrity in the history of this country.
So the documents were destroyed in the...
50 years. Critchell we'll call it the TUC said 50 years of student records and the history of trade unions that were inside that destroyed.
So if I were a student there and I go there now, I can't get a transcript?
No, you can't get to. Mr. Ivor English said a transcript cannot be now.
Wow.
But the thing is, I've said about the labor union leadership.
Yeah.
And the guys there,
Lincoln Lewis is there too.
The guys they were upset with some comments I made. You cannot be a labor leader that discussing 2025 as 1950. You understand me?
Which is what African Guyanese leading opposition doing.
So that is the issue with the trade union movement in large measure, except for some trade unions. Trade unions, they have to ensure that they see an employer as partner. It's not any more antagonistic relationship. That's the first point. The second point is you cannot prosecute this matter in the interest of staff, and the only thing you talk about is salaries and wages. There's so many other things, benefits for workers, training and development is one of them. Safety and health. You might argue, and the man is able to get a good salary, but because of the terrible conditions he's working under, he will die next week. So what have you done for him? So the trade union movement, they have to revolutionize itself. I don't know how that is going to happen because they have not been given any opening and chance to young people and to women.
But we have to say it here, man. Patrick Yard is the head of the Public Service Union for 35 years. Do you realize when you were 25 years in the union, check how old you are now? Because Patrick Yard would have spent 35 years when you were 25. And at 30, you could have had some experience. So by now you probably retire from the public service.
Well, most of the people have retired anyhow, and he's a retiree of the public service. That's another story. But the point is, Freddie, the dilemma
about these things.
The dilemma of employees, and that's the reason why they deliberately try to blame government and private sector. But the dilemma is representation that is lacking, even though they take union dues. I'll give you another example that I had discussion with labor leaders to make this point. You know, they have more so in the government service and in private sector, contract employees. And they see it as a way of breaking the backs of union, not understanding that the young person now, they want a different work regime. They don't see themselves working at any place for 30 years like their parents. They're flexible. They can move from one career to the next. And so contract work, a 3 years contract for them, work good. Importantly, Freddie, and this was my experience in the Ministry of Health, with young doctors, when they can come to me and say, Minister, this gratuity I will receive, I will be putting down my foundation. That's cheap money. They don't have to go to the bank to borrow money. So the trade union is unprepared for the new environment in labor relations. They are 70 years behind time of what is happening and how young people are thinking.
But if you have young people in the leadership and you have elections or what, you have these, they're going to be able to But Lincoln Lewis is going on to 80s in his, and he's there 30-something years. Patrick Yard is going on to his 80s, and he is there that has to be a wrong thing that society should not condone.
Well, it is there. And so we come back to the question you pose, whether if these guys were there for the development and the future of this sector, they would have seen it fit to ensure that all them paper documents are digitized. So the point, if you understand, Freddie, it is what you want to leave as legacy, what future you want this sector to become.
Even if they did it for the last 10 years, let's say, for example, the people before that would have retired, what have you. So their record is probably not as, thing, but the last 10, 15,
Nothing.
20,
So it is pointing, saying to people, do they care? The answer to that question is no. If they cared, the only union that is different in that regard I can point to is GAU. GAU has digitized all its information. GAU has a training center Not just a training center with
Minister,
living quarters. So GAU as a trade union is adopting to the newness
Minister,
of the thing.
you know what? Living long, you know my age, I'm in my early 70s. You know what? If you are not of a strong, I come from Waterville in extreme poverty, so you become a strong person as you go over the. If I wasn't that strong, I wonder if I would not be depressed. You know, Sunday gone, Lincoln Lewis had a letter about everything that's wrong with the government. The previous week, the previous month, the previous year, the previous 2 years, the previous 3 years,
and his
Lincoln Lewis, what the government is doing is wrong, is bad, is wrong.
And he got a little thing to manage, and he can't manage it.
Yeah.
He got a little
part of a sector.
a little full coop, like,
As an
and he
analyst,
can't, you know.
as an analyst, I have to deal with these monstrous aberrations. I get up in the morning, I buy the papers, the Chronicle. I get up in the morning, you go on the read the newspaper, Chronicle, Kaicho, you can read it at 12 o'clock midnight. You go to the Starbucks, you see some fire or something, big accident. To read more, log in. And that newspaper tells the government how to run this country, and they cannot run a newspaper. The Kaicho man, you get the paper free. Guyana Times man, you get the paper free. And a newspaper that every day tells the government how to run the Ministry of Agriculture, how to run the police force, how to manage a budget, how to spend money. You can't read it online.
Well, the thing is,
This is people like Louis the Starbuck News.
yeah,
You get so fed up with this.
no, but the thing is, you know what is important for me? If you look at the society, a lot of people now continue to speak to themselves, right? And they don't even realize that, right? They continue to speak to themselves because they have become irrelevant in the scheme of things. People now pay attention to who will offer them development in the fullness
Who
of
will pay
everything.
more,
Right. And so until and unless the trade union movement is infused with new blood, I mean young people and women,
It's going to be the tragic state.
it would continue to be
Yeah.
in this tragic state, and it will get worse as you go along, because there's no newness within that segment of the trade union movement. So that is one of the issues you have. The guy they have passed dinosaur stage.
Yeah.
Now many people try to explain us old people that we are dinosaurs. They have passed dinosaur stage. I don't know, what that is, but they have passed that. As regards in the sector, how they have outlived their usefulness.
But you cannot tell me that there's no revolt or rebellion against the leader. Minister Hamilton, there was the Guyana Human Rights Association had its meeting at St. Stanislaus College last year. And a man that was the head of it since 1979 to 2024 must be for us. That man put himself up for re-election. That man, Mike McCormack, put himself up for re-election and was re-elected. And when you look at the audience, he was probably the only man in his 60s or 70s there.
But the thing
what is wrong with this country?
McCormack is not in his 80s.
He said, yeah.
The thing is, Freddie, and that's why.
Why do we tolerate these aberrations?
No, but the point is,
and how we can think about the government doing this.
The point is, if you check in the trade union movement, you would know that people have acted. People have acted via not paying dues and so. Them numbers they call, you look at the real numbers in trade union that they're representing is not real. The real numbers is not what they say it is. So people are acting, they have acted, and as I was saying, in the public service, a lot of the employees are contract employees, so
before
they don't
come in, I got news for you. Because we gone back now to the campaign. I got news for you. I saw this. somebody, I think it's Ruel Johnson sitting right here, alerted us to it, and I saw it. When David Hines and WPA people got this political meeting we're going on now, and they released the video, you're only seeing the speaker, the only showing the speaker speaking, they're showing you the ambience because there's nobody there. David Hines.
But right now, let me quickly.
Yeah.
I got some photos making the rounds. Your friend Terence Campbell stand up alone, talking to literally empty streets.
But the thing is, though, and we go back to where we started. People want to hear how you will affect their welfare positively. You cannot go there like Norton was in Linden, and he cussing Jack Deal, and he even cuss critic who got nothing to do with
Not a
politics.
policymaker.
And other than his racist talk, he lied deliberately to the people in Linden. 3 lies. 1, he said that we closed down the Charles Roses School of Nursing. And the thing is, right now we have 379 students at the place. In one batch, we are training more than they trained in 5 years. Secondly, to scare tactics, that we will remove the subsidy for electricity. The subsidy was first placed there by Barrett Jackdale, and the all PPP government continue to have it done. And thirdly, you know what they did? Houses that we built, Freddie, they took and put on their page and suggesting that these houses were built between 2015 and 2020. Houses that just built in this. So the thing is, Freddie, it is not anymore I am black like you conversation. It is how will you contribute to my development and my children's development, my community development, my region and this country. That is what people want to hear. If you don't have a track record, Norton cannot speak to a track record because he never served in government, even when his party was in government. So he cannot speak to any policy. So he is out of touch with reality. Nigel Hughes on the other side, same thing. He didn't serve in government. Right? So
He hardly served in politics.
right. So he can't speak to these
He
matters.
resigned 2 years after.
So they're going up against a political party of leaders of all ages that have served in government.
Yeah.
They could speak to government policy.
They're in their 40s and already got more than 10 years under
right?
the belt. Yeah.
So that the president, right? When he's speaking, I tell you, look, the president is far. I got 2 sons that are older than the president, right? And I'm telling you, Freddie, when he sit down and start to, I'm an adult. And when that young man sit down and start to outline his vision about what he wants to see Guyana become, I'm telling you, marvel. Because those thoughts, you don't have them in your head. And that youthfulness is an important thing, right? Those thoughts wouldn't pass by me. And that's the reason we were talking about earlier about youthfulness. And that is why this the sustaining momentum of the PPP is nurturing leadership right into the 4th generation. So that is what is happening, and that is why you see what is happening across the country. And as Jack Dio said, it's not a political party anymore. It's a movement.
The two of y'all never spoke at the same meeting since.
No.
I should have been at the meeting he was at last night.
What's wrong with you?
No, I had other things to do, but I really should have gone because I got an invitation a while now, and I had a competing thing in my family, so I turned it down.
Well, but the thing is, Freddie, I am impressed by the young people. Some of them I I'm there physically.
Look one there.
Personally to hear them speak, and some of them I listen. I pay attention to our young people speaking. Look, I went to Lethem, and the mayor of Lethem, his daughter, a young lady named Jonelle Macedo. When this is who about finished, just write CXC. And when you say she pick up that mic, I'm telling you, she got a clear understanding and vision of the future that she wants, and she has an understanding of government policy.
Those are the people we need in politics.
She's a candidate. She's a candidate on the PPP list, national list. So, and she's one across this country, as I've said. 25% of the people on the list are under 25 years of age.
Craig, you got 4 minutes.
4 minutes we got. Then I don't. Okay, we had spoken.
3.5 to be precise.
We had spoken about labor and so on. There is an accusation, right? You alluded to it, but you didn't go in depth. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it specifically. There's an accusation that government is setting out to kill the unions. And they're doing several things, putting people on contracts. You alluded to it. Union dues, not making it automatic and things like that. And there are a list of complaints that government is using to kill the unions. And they're saying the unions that government is targeting are those relating to the public service, and those in the public service are mostly black people, and it's a way of part of the racist agenda as well. But can you speak to it?
Okay, the first thing, let me start off by saying, every year, the government make available via budget subvention in my appropriation to give to unions. In 5 years, they haven't collected it. And you know why they can't collect it? A simple prescription. Just bring to how you plan to spend the money.
Yeah. Okay.
And every year we have to return that money to the consolidated fund. That is money that could have gone to do training and all the other things. So
they don't bring audited
nothing at all.
Nor plans to okay.
Right? So that is, their comment will be, you want to access government funds, and you think you don't have a responsibility to tell me how you will spend the state funds, the people's money. So that's the first point. The second issue is there is no law or rule that says that the government must do the checkoff, and a judge ruled in that matter years ago making the point that the government is not your accountant. Right? So that was a favor extended way back in Burnham days to make it easier for trade unions. The trade unions, they should have enough money that they can set up their own management and financial system to treat with their members. That's the second issue. And the third issue is, I made the point, you go and do an assessment of the young people as to what type of relationship they want in the public sector. Granger demanded that all doctors must go on the fixed establishment. That denied them hundreds of thousands of dollars yearly as a gratuity. Freddie, of the 1,200 Jack Deo train, 200 left after their 5 years were up. We gave them an option when we came back into government. You want to do fixed establishment, or you want to do contract? All of them, they chose contract.
Well, I'm the operator say we have to go. Joe, the campaign has just over 2 weeks. I wish you well in the campaign, and when the campaign is over, let's do a show with a different perspective. That perspective is what you and your government, because I think it's fairly obvious the government will be re-elected. I mean, that's fairly obvious. What you and the government will do as we come down to 26, 27, 28. It's always a pleasure. This is about your 8th time here, and you have an open check to be in this program anytime. Good luck.
Pleasure being here as
Good luck
always.
in the campaign. Please do a personal favor for me. Because of his height and build, please give Craig one of your lovely short jacks.
You're talking. You're talking. I can arrange that for Craig.
Yeah, that'd be so much.
I can. No.
Why y'all making bargain in front of my face without including me, man?
Let me see my operator tell me something. Yes, operator? Yeah, thanks to he told me our time is up.
Okay.
Thanks for being with us here. You were looking at the interview with someone who's been very, very generous to this program. Always come when we ask him. Sometimes we don't have a guest and we say, since he's a friend of the program, let's call him. Minister of Labour, Joseph Hamilton, we wish him the best as he campaigns for the election of his party, and we hope he does succeed. We know he will succeed. We will see you in the next episode. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to Minister Joe Hamilton, our co-host Leonard Craig. Catch you later, man. Bye-bye.